General Caldwell, the training mission is the strategic main effort. How do you describe the commitment that this mission requires?
The commitment that's required for us to be successful in the training mission is probably two different kinds. It's the commitment of the international forces, us, the American forces, with all our international coalition partners, and then the second commitment is the part of the Afghans. Ultimately, it's the Afghans that have to be more committed than us if we're going to be as successful as to what we do.
Literacy classes are one of the strong pulls to the recruitments, right?
Just yesterday, the governor down in Kandahar was giving an address to a large crowd of tribal leaders, several hundred, that were there assembled with the president of Afghanistan, and he was telling them that their sons will come back being able to read and write by serving in the Afghan army.
U.S. taxpayers are paying an awful lot of money for all this training. $10 billion this year, I think it's $11.6 next year. How long before the Afghan security forces are strong enough to completely take over the security mission?
There's a couple parts to that. But as we continue to grow the Afghan National Security Force, it was a war-fighting force initially. And so that has been pretty much built over the last last 2 years. What we're now starting to do is build it to be an enduring, self-sustaining force. And we're starting to build what we call the enablers, the transportation, the logistics, the medical. We're starting to build their Air Force now. And those are important elements to a force that wants to become enduring and self-sustaining. And then once they're fielded, it's going to take a little more time until that force operates in one coherent body and is able to be commanded and controlled by the Afghan forces themselves.
Any sense, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Well, what I do know is that the president of Afghanistan has told everybody in 2014, by the end of 2014, he wants to see the Afghan security force having lead responsibility for security in the country of Afghanistan.
So you're saying 3.5 years from now?
3.5 years from now. We'll still be supporting them with programs to help them with any kind of training or purchasing of equipment or other things that might be necessary. But in terms of them being responsible for whatever major fighting is still ongoing at that point, I think most of us accept the fact that that can be a reasonable goal.
How well do the recruits, both the Army and the police, understand that once they graduate, they'll be stepping off into some pretty dangerous duty?
I think most realize it. I mean, Afghanistan is a nation of war. They will be the ones who will be put out in front and be in harm's way before the rest of the Afghan citizens.
Part of your strategy here, and you've spoken of this before, is helping to develop local Afghan business.
If we can purchase things indigenously from the Afghans, that in fact we can do many things for their economy that would not otherwise happen, and ultimately save us a lot of money. And so we've reached out, and today there's a boot factory that didn't exist a year ago. There's a woman's factory that's coming online with 3 women who are in charge of it, and they're starting to make the equipment for soldiers. They're doing uniforms, they're doing blankets and sheets and pillows. And so one of the things we have sought out is, how can we provide unique opportunities for those who want to make a difference and cause a change to occur by purchasing from within inside this country?
General Caldwell, what is the final objective, and how will you recognize when we're there?
We'll know when we're there when the Afghans can provide the security for Afghans. I mean, that's ultimately what it's about. It's not about what we, the coalition force, do, but rather what the Afghans are able to do for their people. And so when they are the ones who are in the lead in providing the security for their people, then the coalition presence won't be required, and we'll start to be able to minimize what we are doing in order to support them, to enable them to do that.
General Caldwell, thank you for your time.